Welcome to Curtis Goes Corner, coming to you from a secret underground base in occupied America. This is from a hearing, a congressional hearing in early February of this year concerning the January 6th committee. These are questions from Congressman Massey to Congressman Thompson. Congressman Thompson was the chairman of the January 6th committee, the farce committee they put on with the two fake Republicans trying to make it look like President Trump caused an insurrection, and an insurrection happened. It was just a bunch of idiots acting stupid, and they rioted. And there's a lot of other things that went on to them, but this is about the Secret Service, which in my opinion is the creme on top of the cream of organizations now under DHS control, used to be on the Treasury Department. They deleted text, tons of them, and destroyed their phones from January 6th. Think about that for a minute. The Secret Service, the people that are responsible for protecting the president, among other things, got rid of evidence. Let's listen.
Ranking Member Thompson, were you chairman of the January 6th committee?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of that committee?
To look at the facts and circumstances that brought about the actions of January 6th and make recommendations as to Congress and that it would not happen again.
Well, there's lie number one. That's not what it was put there for. It was put there for to deny President Trump from ever running again. Let's just tell the truth. But that's what it was on paper. So I guess technically he's not lying under oath.
And so it included things up to January 6th and also including the day of January 6th.
That's correct.
Is it true that the Secret Service cell phone records were deleted for that day on January 6th?
I'm not certain that all of them. We had difficulty with getting some of them.
Was your investigation hindered in part by the deletion of those Secret Service text messages?
We could have had a better and more thorough report had we had access to all those records.
There's lie number two. Those records were destroyed because it would go against their narrative that President Trump was instrumental in the so-called insurrection. So evidence was destroyed. So the answer is no, it wouldn't have helped them because that wasn't their goal. It wasn't a fact-finding committee. It was a Soviet-style trial.
When did you discover those messages were deleted?
During the course of the investigation.
Who was the Secretary of Homeland Security at that time?
January.
No, when you discovered the messages were deleted.
Alejandro Mayorkas.
Oh, the plot thickens. Alejandro Mayorkas is the head of the Department of Homeland Security, who is responsible for securing, wait for it, the border.
Secretary Mayorkas was the Secretary of Homeland Security when you found out those messages were deleted.
Yes, as best I can recollect.
Do you recollect making this statement with Ms. Cheney? And I'll ask to submit this for the record. It's a July 20th, 2022 statement by Thompson and Cheney on the United States Secret Service's response to the Select Committee subpoena. I won't read the whole thing, but here I believe you said, 4 House committees had already sought these critical records from the Department of Homeland Security before the records were apparently lost. Additionally, the procedure for preserving content prior to this purge appears to have been contrary to federal records retention requirements and may represent a possible violation of the Federal Records Act.
Which it did and does. Why wasn't anybody charged? Why wasn't anybody put on the spot? Who deleted the text? You'll see later who destroyed the phones. I don't know. Nobody knows anything. Just like this committee that Congressman Thompson is being questioned about lost a terabyte and a half of information that they accumulated. It's about the supposedly investigation in the January 6th. Anybody's computer guy knows a terabyte and a half is a crap ton of information. Video interviews, text, emails, other videos, assorted testimony, assorted evidence just magically disappeared just before the Republicans took over the Congress.
The Select Committee is seeking additional Secret Service records as well. Every effort must be made to retrieve the lost data as well. Do you still believe there may have been a violation of the Federal Records Act?
Yes.
And when do you think these Secret Service records were deleted?
They were deleted when President Trump was in office. We found out about him later.
So here's a statement of Anthony Guglielmi, Chief of Communications for the United States Secret Service, on accusations of deleted text for DHS Inspector General. I asked unanimous consent to submit this for the record.
Without objection.
And I also asked.
Just a little side note, they didn't get deleted when President Trump was president. If Mayorkas was the head of the Department of Homeland Security, those two facts don't jive.
Unanimous consent, if I forgot to do it, for the Thompson-Cheney statement.
Without objection, so ordered.
So here, this is from the Secret Service themselves. Now, I believe that, before I get into that, I believe there were 4 committees chaired by Democrats who asked for preservation of all communications, including electronic communications, the Secret Service on January 6th. This is relevant because the Secret Service works for Homeland Security, correct?
They're in the Homeland.
Yeah, they're in Homeland Security. Some people may think they're at Treasury, but after 9/11, they were transferred to Homeland Security. So here's what the Secret Service said about those records. It says that the OIG requested the communications on February 26th after the migration was well underway. The Secret Service notified DHS OIG of the loss of certain phones' data, but confirmed to OIG that none of the texts it was seeking had been lost in the migration. I think we later found out they were lost, but what he...
Yeah, they weren't lost in the migration because they supposedly switched phone carriers. So just the ones they didn't want out mysteriously vanished because of a migration problem. Yeah, okay.
He says is on February 26th, the migration was underway. Didn't say it was complete, said it was underway. Now, Secretary Mayorkas was confirmed on February 2nd. So this would have been 24 days after that the Secret Service themselves is saying they're still in the process of migrating. Now, what the Secret Service claimed is that they switched phones and phone providers and then deleted all of the old phones. But it seems, according to the Secret Service, that they were still in the process of doing that while Secretary Mayorkas was in charge of Homeland Security, which is the umbrella over the Secret Service. So I forgot if I asked you, do you still think it appears that there may have been a violation of the Federal Records Act?
Well, the issue of that...
Remember, first he said yes, and now he's been asked again, and you'll see how the answer changes.
with the Secret Service came up when the IG was trying to get access to the record and did not tell us that he was trying to get access to the record. We found that out later in the investigation.
He didn't answer the question. First he said yes immediately without hesitating. Now he's putting it on the investigative general, I guess they call it.
Who kept you from getting access?
Well, to be honest with you, a number of us four of us signed a letter asking for that information. But in reality, we were not afforded that opportunity to get it. But
You were not afforded the opportunity to get it. That means the letter wasn't answered, or they told them to piss off.
at the time we asked for it, the Trump administration was still there as president.
So did Secretary Mayorkas hold anybody accountable for the deletion of those records and those cell phone records?
I'm not aware of it.
Are you?
I'm not aware of it. There isn't any. And he keeps pushing it on Trump. It's always Trump's fault. It's a rainy day, it's Trump's fault. There's an earthquake, it's Trump's fault. If you get sunburned at the beach, it's Trump's fault. When you burn your dinner in the oven, it's Trump's fault. When you get stuck in traffic, it's Trump's fault.
Still trying to get them from Secretary Mayorkas?
Well, you know, our committee has disbanded.
So you're not interested in that and pursuing that any further. The fact that you said, I'm going to read your words back to you, appears to be contrary to the federal records retention requirements and may represent a possible violation of the Federal Records Act. I think if four committees of Congress gave a preservation notice and the Secret Service deleted those communications, that's obstruction of Congress.
Yes, it is. It is obstruction of Congress. Just like when Congressman Thompson was being questioned, mysteriously deleted a terabyte and a half's worth of information. I wish Massey had asked him about that since he had him here and getting rid of evidence. The reason why this is such a big deal, think about this for a minute. When the government agencies, I can understand the appointed positions like cabinet posts and anybody that's appointed by the president when they're changing administrations. But when the Secret Service, the cream of the cream of protective agencies in the U.S. government, is taking sides politically, that is so incredibly dangerous that I can't even begin to tell you. It's amazing to me. One of these charges that President Trump has, he's going to be found guilty eventually. It's just a law of averages in the jury selection in the cities they're in. It's an inevitability. And when they go to arrest a former president, what do you think the Secret Service that's guarding him right now is going to do? Are they going to uphold their oath and protect President Trump? Or are they going to be administrators of the Democrats and the progressives that are in charge? Who do they work for? This is dangerous stuff. It boils down to National Guard troops and the Army as well. You got to pick sides. Well, they're not supposed to pick sides. They're supposed to be neutral, at least in their work environment. This is dangerous. How do you know who to trust? You don't.
I think we should still be looking into that, regardless of when we found out about it, and frankly, regardless of who the president is. But it seems to me that Mayorkas hasn't done anything about this.
That's exactly right, because it's not in his best interest. And the Department of Homeland Security might be the umbrella over the terabyte and a half that the J6th committee deleted. This whole thing stinks. It stinks badly. And nothing is, you barely see it in the news at all. In fact, I didn't even know about this until I saw this video. That the Secret Service deleted text, God knows how many, from January 6th, which is an important date, I might add, because you're probably getting texts from the Secret Service. They were actually guarding the president at the time, Donald Trump. What their thoughts, what some of their intentions were for protection. And there's a lot of other things that are going on and what they knew concerning, I call it the riot on January 6th. There's a lot of things here that they just got rid of because it's inconvenient for them. And nobody's following up on it. Nobody. This is the reason why, one of the main reasons why Donald Trump has to be reelected again. Because these agencies have been corrupted. They've been corrupted beyond repair. Major overhauls have to be done. And the only one with balls enough to do it is Donald Trump. Make no mistake. This is Soviet-style KGB stuff. It's amazing to me. The FBI has been corrupted as well. What percent? I think, frankly, this FBI and the Secret Service has been corrupted maybe at the top levels, but a very small percent of the agents. I doubt if it's 20%. That's 1 out of 5. I doubt if it's that high. But the problem is the rest of the agents in the FBI and the Secret Service just go along to get along. They want to keep their jobs too. They have families to protect and feed and house and all the things you need to do to live in this country. So what's going to happen? Where are the whistleblowers? They're scared to death to come out because every time one comes out, their lives are destroyed in detail. This is huge. This, folks, is the Secret Service, the main protector of presidents and other government officials. Anyway, I want to know what you thought of this video, because when I saw it, I was surprised. I never heard about it. I heard about their committee and Thompson here deleting tons of files, but I never heard of the Secret Service deleting texts and then destroying their phones or deleting their phones. Is anyone going to be held accountable? Probably not. But this tells you how far it goes. And I just pray and hope, honestly, that it hasn't gone too far and it's not too late. Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.